January, the coldest, hardest, most miserable month for the pike fishing season. It can be. What drives us, what compels us, we keep going, we keep getting up, we keep persevering. That's the key word for me, I think, in this time of the year. You've got to persevere. Even if you're all comfy, warm in the house, get up, get out. You can't catch at home. Let's go dead baiting. Well, good morning troops, another day, another river. We're up bright and early, we're on the river just before dawn, cast out in the dark. All 3 rods are margin rods. I don't cast out blindly to the distance in the dark, there's absolutely no point. We've got 3 baits in the water and we'll hold our fire. See what the river's doing. Is it running off hard? It's running off a bit. I could tell by the way my float moved when I put it in the margins. But how hard is it running off? How much depth have we got there? I mean, if the river's really low, I'm looking 6 to 8 foot in front of me. If it's up to its normal levels, 8 to 10 foot, 12 in the middle. So you know you've got to hold fire with your tactics really. It's just a case of getting some baits in the margins to see if there's any pike, hunting and stalking them margins at first light. Once we can see what we're doing, then we'll reposition the rods and adjust the rigs accordingly. Also, when you turn up this time of the morning, you've got to be careful. If you don't know the lay of the land, I'd wait till daylight. It's very, very treacherous here. We've had serious floods. Some swims are like a ice rink. The mud is that slippy, you just phew. I've picked a swim where I know there's loads of undergrowth, so I can walk on the undergrowth, the died down vegetation, that stops you slipping. But at the water's edge, the danger is sinking, so not too much walking around. Not too much disturbance. I'll wait and see what's happening once it gets light. As you can see, that's not far off. Another overcast morning, very mild. Actually worked up a sweat getting set up. We'll crack on, we'll see what's what, and I'll speak to you when it gets light. Welcome back to the channel troops. Let's go dead baiting for pike. Morning troops, welcome back to the channel. I've already said good morning once, but good morning in person, so to speak. It's running off hard, so not a major problem. A little bit of washing on the line when you're reeling. Means I've got to adjust my rig slightly. I can't fish my normal way on here. Normally on it, or anywhere, when I'm dead baiting, normally I fish over depth by, depending on the size of the bait, anywhere from 6 to 12 inches, maybe even sometimes 18 inches, I fish over depth for a big sardine on a single hook, because I want that pike to pick it up and move, feel no resistance, and turn that single hook into its mouth. I can't do that here because it's what happens is if in a river's running off hard, got no problem holding bottom. The weight holds bottom, no problem. But if you're fishing over depth, then your float actually moves. So your float would be sitting here, and your dead bait would be down there, and you have a big bow in the line, which is not ideal. So I've adjusted the depths on my own, so I'm fishing basically spot on. And I'm fishing in about 10 foot of water. I can tell by the brickwork or the rocks on the far bank. They're probably going to drop it another foot or two before the end of the day. So it could be running off hard all day, which is not ideal again for this venue. Doesn't like it running off. But other than that, it looks great. There's no debris coming down. It's very, very mild. Still got my latex glove on for my old wound. The only problem with these latex gloves is they're obviously waterproof, so they keep the bandage and everything dry. But your hands don't breathe, and they say you get a little bit sweaty. It doesn't matter what the temperature is. I find my hand gets cold, and I very rarely get cold when I'm fishing, so not ideal. But as I said, you got to watch out for infection if you've got cuts. But yeah, I haven't been on here 3-4 weeks now, due to the flooding, holidays, work, etc. Got to be a good month before the last time I was on here, so I'm hoping there's been a month since a lot of people have been on here, because it has been diabolical. The big westerlies come in, the rainwater, everything from the area comes into here, flows out to the sea at Boston. So I looked at a swim further up, and that was like a skating rink, so I'll give that a miss. So I've come here, there's loads of vegetation here, so I can walk on it. That's the only thing I've got to worry about, as I said, is sinking rather than slipping. So we've got 3 rods out. Left hand rod is a static dead. It's a smelt on a single circle hook. The middle rod is a whole sardine static dead presented on size 8 semi-barbless trebles, and the right hand rod is a small roach on my running water paternoster rig. Got 3 baits in. It's a glorious day to be out. Very, very mild, overcast, water clarity. It's good, I think, for pike fishing. It's not clear, but it's not chocolate brown either. It's got that nice tinge to it, where the pike should feel confident in hunting, and would have to hunt really, because it's not crystal clear. They can't. It's not by sight. They've got to actively move around for the fish. Water temperature's not too cold. Everything looks spot on. Famous last words. So here we are, we're dead baiting for pike. Hopefully can have ourselves a couple of 20s or even a 30. They're in here. I haven't been here for a month. Hopefully they haven't seen too much action and pressure in that month, and hopefully we'll have one. Let's crack on. The fact that we got a 10 o'clock update means we ain't caught nothing. Otherwise I'd have been speaking to you, wouldn't I? Holding up a fish with a big smile on my face. It's so far it's been a session of tiny adjustments. I arrived in the dark, so boom, 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 out of it. Tiny adjustments. Had to stop filming. Phone call from the wife. So here we go. Yeah, so yeah, I arrived, set up, out I went. Got as comfortable as best I could in the dark, and then when it got light, it was pretty obvious that I was better off just 5 meters to the left. So I've moved everything 5 meters to the left. It means I can walk about and swim a lot better. without slipping and sliding. I can get down to the water better without sinking. And the rods are positioned just as well, so I'm quite happy with all that. The other small adjustment was, as I said, I know how deep it is roughly here, cast out in the dark, and I went down the top end of the depth. It was slightly shallower than I expected, and the floats weren't sitting correctly so far over depth. So quick slide of the stop knots, got all the floats at the proper depth, and they're sitting perfectly. Everything is perfect except the end of the touch. Now, do we keep staying in the same place, making tiny adjustments, or do we make a huge adjustment like in the last video and up sticks and go somewhere else? There's always decisions to make when you're fishing. You can sit back and relax and just cast out and not do a thing, but that's okay when everything's going well. When you're struggling for a run, struggling for a big fish, you've got to make decisions, you've got to make things happen. You know, you've got to try things at least. It might not work for you, but sitting back and just hoping for the best is not an option, I don't think. But if you're doing what you know is right and you're in a position where you know there's fish and you know there's big fish, there is also the argument for sitting there all day and waiting for one run if it's going to be that big fish. So decisions to be made. But so far, I mean, I'm happy with the swim, I'm happy with the conditions. Let's crack on, let's catch some fish. Well, it's almost dark, troops. The cameras perform very well in the low light levels. I reckon I've got about 15 minutes left. It's been another long, hard struggle. 2025 is really turning into a beast of a January for me. But if you don't go, you can't catch, can you? So they're running the river off hard now. For what reason I can't tell. There's no excess water anywhere. It's just one of those days. Nothing's worked. Obviously not sitting on the fish. Hindsight, 2020 vision and all that. Should have moved. Should have up sticks and gone somewhere else. I did have in my mind before I even arrived, if I hadn't caught anything by midday, I was going to drive downstream about a mile or two. But I was quite happy with the swim. It's just hasn't worked for me today. That's the way it goes with fishing. Sadly, it's sometimes it's feast or famine. Sometimes it's a steady boom, 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 one fish here, one fish there. But this January's been quite hard so far. But it's not dark, and there's always a chance one of them rods goes and it's a 30. So sometimes you've got to put up with the tough times to enjoy the good times. But at the moment we're not singing and dancing. Thanks for watching. I hope this isn't the last thing I say here. I know I say it every video, a bit repetitive, but it's true. You know, it's might be the last thing I say to you, might not. We don't know yet. We might fill our boots. You never can tell. As I said when I had the 20 on New Year's Eve, split second your whole session can change. You know, in 10 minutes I could have 3 runs, 1 on each rod. You know, it's just, that's fishing for you. But at the moment I'm struggling to keep buoyant. No, I mean, I'm out on the bank. It's been a nice day, apart from a soppy boat going through far too fast. But other than that, it's not been too bad at all. It's been a good day out in the fresh air. Sadly, no pike as of yet. Stay tuned. We ain't gone yet. I ain't going to say goodbye yet. No, I'm not going to do it. We're going to wait. We're going to see if we can catch before I say goodbye. Keep your eyes peeled, troops. You might see me running up to that alarm. Let's go. Let's catch one before it gets dark. Oh, the joys of fishing in the winter. Absolutely caked in mud. And them ducks are making that sound. You know that sound? Sounds like they're laughing at you. Well, troops, another day, another river, another blank. We go again though. Doesn't put us off, doesn't dishearten us. That's what winter fishing's all about. Plug on, hours under the belt. Thanks for watching, really do appreciate it. Take care everyone, and I'll see you on the bank real soon.